Hello and welcome to this unboxing and review. First, I want to thank Brightside Store for providing me this handheld gaming console for review. If you're interested in purchasing it, I'll leave a link in the description below. And now on to the unboxing and review. This is a SUP Game Box 401 NES games. They're actually cloned. As far as I know, this is not an officially licensed product. And here are the specs on the side. It's a 3.0 inch super wide LCD screen. It's a portable and trendy, as it says. You can also play it on your TV. Has a backlit function and so forth. So you can actually pause that if you want to look at the bullets. And here is the layout, kind of showing each of the buttons and functions and what's the little description labels on there. On the side there, on the top, and look in the back here on the additional side, you can kind of see what's included: the console itself, the AV cable, the micro USB recharging cable, and a user manual, and then pointing down there. This is actually the red unit, so it actually comes in multiple colors. You can see there listed on the bottom of there. And there's the other side of the box, and I think we've looked at everything around this box here. And now let's get to opening the box and see what's inside. Yeah, I've never actually grew up playing the NES system. I started out with the Atari 2600, played the Super NES, N64, and so forth. So I've had a little bit experience playing some of these NES games. I do have the NES Mini that Nintendo came out with recently. But there's some games in here that I'll will show here that I've played in the past. So we'll kind of take a look at this unit. So first of all, let's see what's included. You can see this is the micro USB cable. It's kind of fairly short in length. I don't think you need it any more longer than that. So now we got the RCA style audio video connectors here, cable that connects to your TV, which is kind of interesting. We'll talk about the length of that cable once we get to that portion of the video. But let's take a look at the user manual. Retro FC. Not sure what the FC, something with console maybe. And you can kind of see here's the installation on the left hand side, what's included: the accessories, battery installation, and then also the video out connecting to your TV, how to do that, and all the little stuff. And this is actually showing the troubleshooting in the very bottom, your warnings and precautions. Now let's take a look at the actual console here. It's fairly light. It does have, you're looking at the bottom, the front, it actually has a nice little texture to it. Big old SUP wording imprinted on the front. It's, yeah, like I said, it's not too bad. I mean, and we'll look at here's the top, and we'll kind of point those out here in a second, what each those little what they do. And here's the rotary volume knob. So this is the volume knob here. We'll go back and look at what these are. That big old button is the power on off, the micro USB, and also the TV out. I was just curious why there's a TV out, not a headphone jack. Thought it was kind of curious that there's no headphone jack, but a TV out instead. And let's look at the battery. It's included. It's a rechargeable battery, and it looks like a cell phone style battery. According to the side of the box during the unboxing portion of this video at the beginning, it says this battery, this lithium-ion battery, actually gets 6 hours of continuous play. So we'll have to see if this actually does get 6 hours of play once we get to playing. And you can see the screen, it's got a little muted. I think there's actually a protective film on it. So you can kind of see it's kind of look like it's kind of dirty. But there is, I'm looking on there, I think there is a protective film that you can remove. Not too sure. I'll look at it here in a little bit. But yeah, I think there is a protective film on it. So we can kind of look at the unit itself and check out the buttons, see how they feel. They don't feel too bad, not too squishy. I mean, they feel pretty decent for what you get here in this product. Yeah, not too bad. The build quality is decent, I should say. I mean, just initially feeling the buttons, they feel pretty decent, pretty good. Looking at that film, protective film on the screen, it can come off, but I'll probably keep it on just to keep the reflections down during the filming of this review. So yeah, you can see it actually does peel off. So I'm gonna keep it on for right now. When you first start it up, this is the screen you get to select the Chinese or English language. And I just pointed out there's a little power red light on the screen, which is kind of interesting location for that. But let's just go through this list and see if there is actually 400 games in here. So the fast and quickest way, you could do it individually with your D-pad, but pressing that B button right there actually will scroll much faster in groups of 10. So you can get through that 400 games using that B button. So let's start out with Super Mario. And I think I've only played this game maybe a handful of times in the past. Not the very best, but let's kind of take a quick look and see what the response on these controls are. And you can see they're not bad at all. Using these buttons here. Doing pretty good. I'm sure I'm going to get killed here in a little bit. And, oh, I made it there. Yep, let's go back here. Yeah, overall, like I said, I've reduced the studio lights. Just kind of, you can kind of see the actual screen a little bit better while I'm shooting this video, kind of seeing the gameplay. So I've kind of bump up a little bit of the contrast on the actual screen. I mean, you can play this. The screen does look pretty decent with normal lighting, but I just kind of reduced these bright studio lights I have here, just to kind of so you can get see the screen a little bit better. And one thing you have to do every time you have to hit that reset button, goes to that select the language. It's kind of, I guess after a while it could be annoying, but you have to go back to that to get back to the main menu to select new games. It just automatically brings you back to that English and Chinese selection screen. So, but one thing that I've noticed, and I'm sure maybe somebody might have a comment or question, it does not save you progress in the game. So there's no save state. And I think in a lot of these games there was really no save states on these games, so that kind of makes sense in that aspect. So like I said, as you see, this had no SD cards or no built-in memory. So let's try Galaga, another favorite of mine. Yeah, and I played this in the arcade back in the day, and I also did a review not too long ago on one of the little quarter-scale arcade machines. So let's take a quick look at Galaga and see how it plays, this little shooter. So far, it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean the sounds are okay on these. I mean, for a clone, they're not going to be 100% on point, but for what you get for this system, this is not bad. It's good entertainment. I mean, it's Galaga. I mean, you're not going to get 100% like a Game Boy if you're playing a Game Boy. I've never really owned a Game Boy or played a Game Boy, so I can't really vouch for that system exactly how in comparison, but for what you get on this system, it's not too bad at all. I mean, it's entertainment. Like I said, this would be a great little device if you want to pick up for your kids on a road trip to play, or if you just want to just waste some time and not play a game on your Game Boy or even on your phone. Just want to try, hey, let's pick a couple of games. So I've seen worse systems that have multiple games on old retro games, not in this form factor, but maybe like a little arcade machine that are not as good in quality as this. I mean, but for what you get here, this is not too bad. Yeah, what's kind of interesting, there's a lot of games in here that I've never heard of. Feel free to leave a comment below if there's any games in here that you recognize, that you played before, maybe your favorites. But there's a handful of games here I've played before, I've heard of, I've never played. So it's nice to have a good selection of different games to try out that you've never tried out before. So, like I said, I'll show a handful of games that are kind of popular, like this one right here. I haven't played this game before. I think I played the original one. This is this is Contra 7, and yeah, the shooter. It's decent response rate with the buttons here. Yeah, the colors. I mean, I can't say exactly. Is that the original colors from the original game? But these are clones, so I'm sure they're comparable. And so, like I said, leave a comment below if there's any games in here to say, hey, yeah, that looks pretty close, or vice versa, whatever. Let's do one more game, show one more game that I'm familiar with. I'm sure a lot of you are. Let's do Pac-Man and see how this looks on this system. Yeah, it looks familiar. They got everything kind of close to what it looks like. And one thing is, I don't know if I was doing it right, the response on this with this D-pad is definitely not the best for maneuvering. Trying to see here, you can see I'm kind of struggling. I want to get up to get that power pill there, but yeah, that's the only thing is I'm noticing right now. It's Not the best gameplay with Pac-Man per se with that D-pad. Trying to get up to, I mean, you can go forward, but trying to get, trying to get back down, it takes a little finagling. Like, see now, like, oh, I'm trying to get up there. Come on. Yeah, the response is, so Pac-Man, it's usually have an arcade stick with this, how to maneuver this. So I would say Pac-Man translating on this system for playability is not up to snuff what it really should be. So it's taking a little bit extra with that D-pad. Definitely not a good controller for this particular game. But it does look pretty decent. It definitely has everything that Pac-Man you're familiar with. I mean, it's not 100%, but it looks pretty. You can see there, it's Pac-Man. But yeah, see, I'm struggling trying to get Pac-Man down using this D-pad. Trying to maneuver fast and quick, trying to get down. Yeah, it does it, but it's kind of the slow rate is definitely not conducive for this game. Let's hook up the handheld console to a TV through the TV out connector with the RCA cable. I don't have any retro style TVs. All my TVs don't have RCA inputs. They're either the 4K or they all have HDMI. So this old retro color TV I've had forever. So let's connect it to there. You can see the top portion is kind of cut off. So I don't know if that's not the fault of the unit. That might be just the TV. If you have, I haven't got a chance, like I said, on a full-size TV to test it. But overall, I mean, the graphics, they're not the most desirable. I'm going to play Frontline. I never played this game in the arcade, I believe it was in, but I used to play the heck out of it, and I still do have my ColecoVision. I do have the cartridge Frontline for the ColecoVision, so I used to play the heck out of this game on the ColecoVision. I mean, the response to the game, it's great, but on the TV, kind of lackluster, I guess. But the one thing I got to say on this cable, it's kind of short. Definitely wouldn't be very long enough to be on a full-size big TV. That's only one downfall on the cable length I can see. But on this TV, it's sufficient enough since I'm pretty close by with the unit, and the screens are a little bit bigger than the actual unit. But yeah, the translation graphics from the TV is not the ideal. Now, would I recommend this product? Sure, if you can overlook these games, graphics and sound not being 100% like the games they're trying to emulate. Yes, overall, it's a pretty fun little device to play with. And as always, thank you for watching. Until the next one, take care.